Remember the glory days of The Dragon Prince? How good those early seasons were, and honestly how peak those final couple of seasons were, ignoring the stupid status quo reset and the bad creative choices in season 4, and then just a couple other terrible creative choices across the board. Oh, and also the fact that they didn't end up finishing the story. Anyway, I kind of figured this would be a show that ends up being forgotten to time because Netflix had clearly started to not care. I don't think it was managing to crack the Netflix top 10 or anything of the sort by the time it ended its run. A pretty sad fall from grace, and whilst I knew the creators were talking about how they were shopping around for a distributor and were 100% keen to be able to make another season, it didn't seem all that likely at the end of the day. Oh well, I thought, it's sad, but there's heaps of other content out there I can enjoy. However, then I heard they were having a Comic-Con panel and I thought, oh damn, here we go. They might actually have a chance of pulling this off. They do this whole song and dance about the third arc of their story being The Dragon King, how it's going to be more mature, more exciting, and it's time to get hyped, only to reveal that they don't even have a distribution partner or any backers or funding. Yes, this is a Kickstarter announcement, kids. A Kickstarter! It's a, oh hey, we had a Netflix deal and we lost that, so can you please give us your money so we can try to convince somebody else to give us a chance announcement. Instant dread with this type of thing. This isn't like Critical Role trying to crowdfund to make an animated special that then explodes and leads to a fully fledged show. This is an actual show that already had its chance, asking for more money from its fans to fund more content. Reception for this has been mixed to say the least. Some people are absolutely hyped up for a potential Dragon King show, whereas others, they're feeling rather annoyed at the way everything's gone down. Personally, I'm feeling a very healthy dose of secondhand embarrassment from this Kickstarter. But I suppose before we go any further, we should just get stuck into the content they've given us, right? Okay, so they have a bunch of details about the show on the page, and they even released a YouTube video as part of everything. It's basically a quick reminder of how they killed Erebos, but that he isn't actually dead, and he'll be able to return to life properly in 7 years. Yep, it's going to resolve that big old fake out they did at the end of the second arc, where pretty much nothing at all was resolved, and nobody was left satisfied. They show that clip, we hear a baby crying, and we see the Dragon King title come up with it being shown on screen, that those 7 years have finally passed. As for the crying baby, I think there are two possible directions they take here. Either Erebos comes into the world as an actual baby, which would feel a bit anticlimactic because it would mean that he either has to grow up super quickly or be cared for the entire time, likely by Claudia, which would be cute. And so we'd probably need a fourth arc to actually see him do anything of note, unless the show goes full psycho and has the heroes murder a baby, which would be a big time yikes moment that jumps the shark completely. Or it's more likely to be Callum and Rayla's baby. That feels like the more obvious pathway to take if you ask me. Now, if you go onto the Kickstarter itself, there's actually a bit more information than just that though. First up, we have a picture of Ezran and Zim. So Zim has obviously grown up big time, and so's Ezran. I do have to say this picture goes hard. But it is also kind of funny to see the difference between 20-year-old Ezran versus 18-year-old Callum during the Mysteries of Erebos. There must be something in those Harrow genes that just turns you into a Chad or something. I know it's a fantasy show, but he looks so much older than 20 years old in this picture. Also, he just doesn't seem like Ezran in his overall vibe, but maybe that's just a me thing. More than just a picture though, we have a blurb to try to sell us on the concept. It reads, The Dragon King is a new animated epic fantasy series that brings together the visionary creators behind 3 incredible fandoms, The Dragon Prince, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Critical Role. On the cusp of vanishing into legend, the last of the arch-dragons, the young Dragon King Zim, wields his great power to forge a fragile peace in Xadia. But when a forsaken and forgotten Dragon Prince returns from the shadows of exile, Zim uncovers a truth long buried. The throne he inherited might not have been his to claim, and a true heir has come to take it back. The Dragon King is an all-new story that welcomes an all-new audience. We formed this artistic supergroup to craft a truly extraordinary new adult animated series. You can expect world-class iconic storytelling from this dream team, epic, dangerous, and complex. But it cannot happen without you. This new series already has some serious star power lined up. Jack Dacina will be reprising his Dragon Prince role as Callum, and Dante Basco will be dramatically expanding his role as Zim in The Dragon King. Liam O'Brien is joining the main cast as a new character, who is poised to disrupt the world order of Xadia completely. The Dragon King is a new standalone story. For new viewers, The Dragon King will fire on all cylinders from minute 1. Returning fans will experience it as Arc 3 of the Dragon Prince saga, finding the Dragon King to be a no-holds-barred payoff to the mysteries and slow burn of the original series. Slow burn's one way to put it. Filled with high-octane, world-changing battles and god-level tiers of powers, the new series finds most of the beloved characters have returned, now advancing into their adult lives to face even more complex challenges. We need the millions of tried and true Dragon Prince fans to come together to make this a reality, as well as newcomers to the universe who are excited to see the Dragon King take flight. Telling a great original story in a new IP is challenging in today's risk-averse media landscape. With this Kickstarter campaign, fans will have the power to show what they want and how badly they want it, whilst building unstoppable momentum for the series. A strong demonstration of support here on Kickstarter will give us the ability to find the right partners who can meet all the funding needs to bring a world-class series to life. Proving the series this way will allow us to create the series we want in an uncompromised creative vision. We have one more important reason for fundraising this way. We want you to be part of building the vision of the Dragon King with us. We are invoking the fandom, calling on you to bring all your powers to bear to supercharge this series. When we launch the campaign, you'll learn some truly unique ways to get involved behind the scenes. Join us on this journey. We can't wait to share more. A first look is coming soon. Be the first to get a look at the Dragon King. Follow now to be notified the instant we release the very first teaser trailer for the Dragon King and the moment the campaign launches. Oh, and look, they even added a bunch of reviewer quotes about how good the original was. Here they are. The Dragon Prince really stands out as Netflix's version of Lord of the Rings. This one is by far the most bold, by far. Can you imagine if the Lord of the Rings ended with Sauron dying, but it being made very clear to the audience, oh, don't worry, he'll be able to return to full power in only a handful of years? You would 100% feel ripped off by all of that, wouldn't you? We also have, from the first glimpse of gorgeous, hand-painted backdrops and bizarre hybrid creatures, the Dragon Prince's heritage is apparent. Here, they're clearly trying to evoke those Avatar: The Last Airbender comparisons again. Then we have the Dragon Prince is a fun ride from start to finish. Debatable is all I'll say. Extremely debatable. Somebody on Reddit, I think, also straight up made it clear that these are all quotes from the first arc, so before the writing absolutely just shit the bed in Mysteries of Erebos. That is honestly so sad. The best quotes I could get about the show are from years and years ago. Big time ouch. Also, for God's sake, I can't get the Lord of the Rings quote out of my head. It's so egregious. Even for season 1, it's egregious. Come on, man. Lord of the Rings is a genre-defining magnum opus work that quite literally either invented or popularized and brought into the mainstream many of the classic tropes that appear in pretty much every work of fantasy by any author and creator since those days. I hate to be some douchebag gatekeeper or seem pretentious, but it's just on a whole nother level. In fact, I would argue that Dragon Prince is many, many, many tiers below it. Okay, but yes, that was certainly a lot, wasn't it? First of all, I have to say this whole blurb, it reeks of desperation, and also an extremely unhealthy dose of, how do you do, fellow kids? When I read out, we're invoking the fandom, I cringed into an out-of-body experience for sure. More on all of that in a moment, but I have to say that the ending in the video really did nothing for me. Here's the deal, right? Even if I hadn't been burned by the ending of the Dragon Prince show, and I was still a hardcore stan eager to see what happens next, I would want that first look now. These guys are announcing they need crowdfunding on Kickstarter to attempt to get their sequel series started. They are asking you and me and all the other fans for money in a time where money feels tighter than it ever has before. I get that animating is expensive and takes time, but for God's sake, if you're asking for all of this from your fans, a first look should be included as part of that initial announcement. We should be able to see what the actual hell you want us to pay for. Not even that much, just a minute to see what it's going to be like and try to get even more eyes on it. They haven't even done that, instead released a nothing video with a crying baby voice, old clips, and the title page. All the while unleashing a very needy screed upon us all. No actual look at Callum or Ezran or Rayla or Zim or any of the other characters that are going to get you to want to pay money to see them, just a single piece of concept art. Whoever is in charge of marketing, this new direction's not doing well at all. Come on. I just don't see how this Kickstarter has any real chance of doing well or having success. I'm not even sure they're going to be able to hit their goals, whatever they will be, and so I don't think we're going to be getting this Dragon King show ever. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm here hoping it's going to fail. I don't want the show to crash and burn, and of course, if it actually does get a release, I'll 100% be out there watching it. It's just at the same time, I can't help but think that they brought this on themselves. I mean, at one point they had so much audience goodwill and popularity, especially in those early days. The Dragon Prince, when it first released, was so fun. Did it look like it was made on a bit of a budget? Yes, but in the end, it didn't matter. The story and the world and the characters were that good. The first 3 seasons, that first arc was absolutely incredible. It had a really tight and concise story that drew you in with clear arcs for the characters. It had a solid romance pairing and really good platonic and family relationships too. I'm not going to glaze it too much and say it's Lord of the Rings level, but it is 100% managing to tap into that same vibe as Avatar: The Last Airbender in terms of its tone, content, and characters. Was it the same level of popularity and quality? No. But in the end, the Avatar universe is one of the most popular cartoon franchises ever made. And so to even get a fraction of that success would be a clear win for the show and the studio. They even got an additional 4-season renewal with which they would potentially be able to keep building on the popularity of the show and manage to cement it as an all-timer and one of the big franchises of the 2020s, at least in the animated space. But that didn't happen, did it? COVID seemingly halted a lot of the show's momentum, and so when they were finally coming back for the second arc, it was clear that they needed to hit the ground running with top-tier content. Season 4 was anything but that though. They broke up the main ship off screen for a reason that will never ever be clear to me or make any sense at all. And then they had a very slow and plotting storyline about trying to release/stop the release of Erebos. Season 5 was still a bit slow, and yet it showed promise with the story starting to heat up. Season 6 cooked hard and introduced a lot of interesting plot points that 100% felt like they were going to change the framing of the show and the way in which you see the characters. And yet Season 7 failed to wrap up pretty much any of them, besides the odious Sun Elf storyline that nobody cared about beyond wanting Janai and Amaya to have their wedding, and to see notable piece of shit Sol Regan finally die the horrible death he deserved. Kareem lingered way too long in the story. I think we can all agree on that though. Oh, and we also wrapped up the Rayla's parents storyline with it pretty much being revealed that they were deadbeats who didn't care about her at all. Yikes. Meanwhile, for all of his faults, her adopted dad was in living hell because of the shit he put her through. Yeah. Otherwise though, the show shit the bed in that final season. They had a really cute Claudia Erebos storyline, but then Erebos died, but not really because he's going to be back. Whoa. They gave Ezran some edge at long last, being rightfully mad about his dad's murderer being brought to visit as if he's some welcome addition to the family, and Callum and Rayla act as if he's wrong for tossing his ass in prison. In fact, it felt like the show tried to frame him as being wrong. On top of that, I'm pretty sure Harrow was revealed to be the bird, right? I remember making a video talking about that once and people were doubting. No, Smarty Pants. The creators have already said that he's 100% dead. They've said he's not the bird. Sure, buddy. Sure. Anyway, they didn't finish off the main storyline at all. They didn't even try. They left it 100% open. And I guess they arrogantly assumed Netflix would just give them another renewal for their show.
Are you sure about that?
Despite them being a completely cancel-happy streaming service who 100% has axed shows that were far more popular than The Dragon Prince ever was. No hesitation. They gave them 4 extra seasons to tell the story for the second saga, and they pissed it all away. Why the hell, in that case, would we front up any money to give them? No thank you. I'll watch it if it comes out, but it does feel like they haven't learned their lesson at all, and that nothing's changed. I'd be glad to be wrong, but I don't think I am. I do not think this show is ever coming out. With all that being said though, these have been my opinions and now I'd like to hear yours. What do you think of the Dragon King concept? Are you going to pay up or are you far more skeptical? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment and subscribe and let me know.